Elara lived in the Vale of Avani, a place whispered to be the last cradle of true magic. Mist clung to the valley floor like a lover's embrace, hiding the ancient stones and whispering trees. Elara, barely 17, felt the fading keenly. Magic, once as vibrant as the valley's wildflowers, was now a flickering candle flame kept alive only by the oldest inhabitants. She spent her days tending the dwindling herb gardens, her fingers aching for the touch of a magic she only knew.
Elara, barely 17, felt the fading keenly. She spent her days tending the dwindling herb gardens, her fingers aching for the touch of a magic she only knew from stories. One misty morning, while searching for a rare moon petal, she stumbled upon a hidden grotto. Nestled amongst the moss-covered rocks, she found a box. It was crafted from dark, unfamiliar wood, its surface intricate with carvings. As she reached out to touch it, a faint hum resonated from within, a whisper of magic that sends shivers down her spine. The box was locked, but Elara felt an inexplicably pull towards it, a sense that it held something important, that something connected to the fading magic of the veil. A small ornate lock secured it, but there's no keyhole to be seen. Curiosity bubbling within her, Elara carefully picked up the box. It felt strangely warm to the touch. The pouch felt something strange in her hand, and a faint scent of wildflowers, and something wilder, something untamed, dry. She found a bird no bigger than her thumb curved from a polished wood. Its wings were folded, and its head tucked beneath one, as if it were asleep. The carving was incredibly detailed, each tiny feather etched with precision. Hesitantly, Elara reached out and touched it. The wood felt strangely warm, and a faint pulse of energy seemed to thrum beneath her fingertips. A jolt of energy and tingling surged through her fingertips. In the center of the grotto, resting a bed of soft moss, she found a stone. It was smooth and grey and unremarkable at first glance, but as Elara reached out, she noticed a faint, cool light pulsing from within. It felt strangely comforting in her hand. She finds a small, smooth stone that glows faintly in the dim light of the grotto, partially hidden beneath the waterfall. It was an unusual shade of deep blue, and it seemed to glow faintly in the dim light of the grotto. Curious, Elara picked it up. The stone felt strangely warm in her hand, and a faint pulse of energy seemed to emanate from it. A shaft of sunlight pierced through the mist, illuminating a small pool of crystal-clear water. At the bottom, nestled amongst smooth, colourful stones, she saw it a pearl. It wasn't like any other pearl she had ever seen. The one glow with an inner light, a soft, ethereal luminescence that pulsed gently. Hesitantly, Elara reached out and picked it up. The pearl felt strangely warm to the touch and sense if peace washed over her. The air here felt different, charged with a faint, almost forgotten energy. Hesitantly, Elara reached out and picked it up. The bracelet felt strangely cool to the touch, and a feeling of calm washed over her. Drawn to its ethereal beauty, she slipped the bracelet onto her wrist. As soon as it touched her skin, the silvery strands flared with a brilliant white light, bathing the grotto in an otherworldly glow. The light subsided quickly, leaving the bracelet shimmering softly against her skin. Elara gasped, feeling a surge of energy course through her veins, a tingling sensation. As soon as it touched her skin, the silvery strands flared with a brilliant white light, bathing the grotto in an otherworldly glow. The light subsided quickly, leaving the bracelet shimmering softly against her skin. Elara gasped, feeling a surge of energy course through her veins, a tingling sensation that she hadn't felt since she was a small child, listening to her grandmother's stories of the old magic. Looking down at her hand, she noticed that the faint lines on her palm, the ones her grandmother has called the pathways of magic, now glowed with a faint silvery light mirroring the bracelet on her wrist. The air around her seemed to simmer and distort, and she felt a strange pull, a connection to the whispering trees and the ancient stones of the Vale, a connection she had never felt before. Just as she was trying to understand this new sensation, a voice ancient and whisper-soft echoed through the grotto. "The gift awakens," it murmured, the sound seeming to come from the very stone themselves. "The Vale remembers its child." A pause. Then the voice continued, the fading. "It can be reversed, but the path is perilous. Seek the heart of Avani, young one. It holds the key." Elara's heart pounded in her chest. The words, though spoken gently, filled her with a chilling fear. The heart of Avani. It's a legend, a myth whispered by the elders, a place of immense power, but also of great danger. No one knew its true location, and those who had sought it had never returned. Fear warned with a flicker of hope within. Alara walked along a narrow, winding path with thick fog swirling around her feet, illuminated by the faint glow of bioluminescent plants lining the trail that lead deeper into the forest. The veil was transforming under the twilight sky, revealing its beauty and mystery, but also its hidden dangers. Taking a deep breath, Alara made her decision. Fear was still there, a knot in her stomach, but it was overshadowed by a surge of determination. She had to try. She had to save the veil, the only home she had ever known. "I will go," she whispered, her voice barely audible but firm. "I will seek the heart of Avani." Without further hesitation, Alara turned and left the grotto. The path ahead was unknown, the dangers unseen, but the fate of the veil, the fading magic, rested on her shoulders. She had to hurry. The light was already beginning to fade, and she knew that the mists of the veil held secrets both wondrous and terrifying that revealed themselves only in the twilight hours. As she hurried through the forest, the shadows lengthening around her, she heard a rustling in the undergrowth. She stopped her hand instinctively, going to the small pouch of herbs at her belt. Two glowing eyes peered out from the darkness, followed by the sleek black form of a large panther. It crouched low, its muscles coiled, ready to spring. Alara's heart pounded, but she forced herself to remain calm. Remembering the stories her grandmother had told her about the creatures of the veil, she slowly raised her hand, palm open, towards the panther. "Peace," she whispered, her voice trembling slightly. "I mean you no harm." The panther's glowing eyes flicker as it tilts its head cautiously, assessing Alara, the forest bathed in twilight, with leaves rustling softly in the breeze. Alara stands poised, her expression a mix of fear and determination, the small pouch of herbs at her belt slightly visible set against the backdrop of dense foliage. The panther remained crouched, its eyes fixed on Alara, but its tail, which had been twitching nervously, stilled. After a long moment, it let out a soft, rumbling purr, a sound that seemed to vibrate through the very air around them. Slowly, cautiously, the panther rose to its feet, its movements fluid and graceful. It took a step forward, then another, until it stood before Alara, close enough for her to feel its warm breath on her skin. It lowered its head, nudging her hand gently with its nose. As Alara hesitantly reached out and touched the panther's smooth black fur, she realized something. This wasn't just any panther. There was an intelligence in its eyes, a knowingness that went beyond the wildness of the beast. She felt a connection to it, a sense of understanding that transcended words. It was as if the panther knew her quest, knew the fear and the hope that battled within her heart. And in that moment, she understood. This wasn't just a creature of the veil, it was a guardian. A silent understanding passed between them. The panther turned, and with a graceful flick of its tail, beckoned Alara to follow. It moved through the forest with an almost supernatural ease, weaving through the trees and undergrowth, as if it knew every path, every hidden trail. Alara followed her fear, now replaced by a cautious hope. She didn't know where the panther was leading her, but she trusted it. She felt deep in her heart that it was guiding her towards her destiny, towards the heart of Avani. Their journey was far from easy. The panther led her through tangled thickets, across rushing streams, and over treacherous rocky terrain. More than once, Alara stumbled, her breath catching in her throat as she narrowly avoided falling. And then there were the creatures of the veil. They encountered strange glowing insects with razor-sharp legs and heard the eerie calls of unseen predators echoing through the trees. The panther remained steadfast guardian, its presence, a silent reassurance in the face of these hidden dangers. As they journeyed deeper into the veil, the air grew heavy with a sense of ancient power, and the forest itself seemed to change, the trees twisting into grotesque shapes, their branches reaching out like skeletal fingers. Suddenly, the panther stopped, its ears twitching, its eyes narrowed. A low growl rumbled in its chest. Ahead, blocking their path, was a chasm, a deep gaping wound in the earth. A swirling mist rose from its depths, and the air around it crackled with an unnatural energy. From the mist, shadowy figures emerged, their forms shifting and indistinct, but their intent clear. They were blocking the way. Alara knew instinctively that these were not creatures of flesh and blood. They were something else, something darker drawn from the fading magic itself. Despite her fear, she felt a surge of protectiveness towards the veil, towards the magic that flowed through her veins. She would not let these shadowy beings stop. Elara stands with her eyes wide, a mixture of astonishment and admiration on her face, as she watches the panther take on the menacing shadows that loom around them. The panther, caught in mid-leap, takes down one of the shadowy figures with its massive paws, sending wisps of dark smoke swirling into the air, while the silvery light from Elara's palm continues to glow brightly. Taking a deep breath, she reached into her pouch and pulled out a handful of dried moon petal leaves. Remembering an old incantation from her grandmother's stories, she whispered the words, crushing the leaves in her hand. A faint silvery light emanated from her palm, mirroring the glow of the bracelet on her wrist. Before Elara could unleash the energy, the panther sprang into action. With a ferocious roar, it lunged at the shadowy figures, its claws extended, its teeth bared. The shadowy figures shrieked, their forms flickering and distorting as the panther tore through their ranks. Elara watched awestruck as the panther fought with a ferocity she hadn't imagined. It was a whirlwind of black fur and sharp claws a protector unleashed. Seeing the panther bravely defending them, Elara's fear receded, replaced by a surge of courage. She wouldn't stand back and let the panther face these shadowy creatures alone. Focusing her will, she channeled the energy from the bracelet, the silvery light in her palm growing stronger. She aimed it at the shadowy figures, and as the light struck them, they recoiled, hissing and shrieking, their forms dissolving slightly. Working together, Elara and the panther fought their way through the shadowy horde, pushing them back towards the chasm. Finally, with a combined surge of energy from Elara and a final powerful leap from the panther, the shadowy figures were forced back into the swirling mist, disappearing with a final chilling shriek. The chasm lay open before them, the mist still swirling, but the path was clear. The panther turned to Elara, nudging her hand as if to say, "We can cross now." Taking a deep breath, Elara stepped onto the narrow path that spanned the chasm. The panther followed closely behind, its presence a comforting weight against her leg. The path was treacherous, winding and narrow with sheer drops on either side. But Elara and the panther pressed on their determination, fueled by the knowledge that they were close. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, they reached the other side. Before them stood a towering rock formation, its peak shrouded in mist. A faint golden light emanated from within. This was it, the heart of Avani. Elara approached the rock formation cautiously, the panther at her side. As they drew closer, the golden light grew stronger, bathing the surrounding area in a warm, ethereal glow. A narrow opening appeared in the rock face, and Elara hesitated for a moment, sensing the immense power that resided within. Taking a deep breath, she stepped inside the panther, following close behind. The passage was dark and winding, the air thick with the scent of ancient magic. As they ventured deeper, the golden light grew brighter, leading them towards the heart of the rock formation. Suddenly, the passage opened into a vast chamber. In the center, floating amidst a swirling vortex of golden energy, was the heart of Avani. It pulsed with a warm, life-giving light, its power palpable. But guarding it, its eyes glowing with an intense, fiery light, was a creature of pure energy, a being formed from the very essence of the veil's fading magic. It was a test, a guardian, and it would not let the heart be taken easily. Elara knew instinctively that she could not defeat this creature with force. It was too powerful, too connected to the very magic she sought to save. Instead, she chose a different path. She stepped forward, her hand outstretched, the silvery light of her bracelet mirroring the golden glow of the heart. "I do not come to steal," she said, her voice echoing through the chamber. "I come to heal, to restore. The veil is fading, its magic wane. I seek only to mend what is broken." The energy creature, its form flickering and shifting, seemed to consider her words. The fiery light in its eyes dimmed slightly, and it tilted its head as if studying Elara, trying to discern the truth in her words. After a long moment, it spoke its voice, a chorus of whispers, ancient and wise. "The fading, it is a sickness of the heart," it murmured. "A wound that festers and spreads. You seek to heal it." Elara nodded, her gaze fixed on the energy creature, her voice filled with sincerity. "The veil is my home," she explained. "Its magic flows through my veins, connects me to every living thing within it. I feel its pain, its fading strength. I know that the heart of Avani holds the power to restore it to heal the sickness that plagues it. But I do not seek to take it for myself. I only ask that it lend its power, that it guide me on the path to healing. The energy creature remained silent for a long moment, its fiery eyes fixed on Alara, searching her soul. Finally, it spoke, its voice softer now, fueled with a hint of hope. The path is perilous, it warned. The fading is a powerful force, and it will not relinquish its hold easily. But if your heart is true, if your intentions are pure, then the heart of Avani will guide you. As it spoke, the swirling vortex of energy surrounding the heart subsided, and the path to the ancient artifact lay open. Alara approached cautiously, her hand outstretched. As she reached out to touch the heart of Avani, a surge of energy flowed through her, connecting her to the ancient magic that pulsed within it. She felt a rush of warmth, a sense of understanding so profound it took her breath away. She knew instinctively how to use the heart's power, how to channel its energy to heal the veil. But she also knew that the journey was far from over. The fading was a powerful force, and it would not give up its hold easily. Taking the heart of Avani, Alara turned to the panther, who had remained silent. The energy creature remained silent for a long moment, its fiery eyes fixed on Alara, searching her soul. Finally, it spoke, its voice softer now, filled with a hint of hope. The path is perilous, it warned. The fading is a powerful force, and it will not relinquish its hold easily. But if your heart is true, if your intentions are pure, then the heart of Avani will guide you. As it spoke, the swirling vortex of energy surrounding the heart subsided, and the path to the ancient artifact lay open. Alara approached cautiously, her hand outstretched. As she reached out to touch the heart of Avani, a surge of energy flowed through her, connecting her to the ancient magic that pulsed within it. She felt a rush of warmth, a sense of understanding so profound it took her breath away. She knew instinctively how to use the heart's power, how to channel its energy to heal the veil. But she also knew that the journey was far from over. The fading was a powerful force, and it would not give up its hold easily. Taking the heart of Avani, Alara turned to the panther, who had remained silent. Alara led the way through the narrow, jagged passage, the faint glow of the heart of Avani lighting their path as her panther followed closely, its muscles tensed and ready for any threat. The shadowy figures grew larger as they advanced, their eyes glowing ominously in the dim light, casting long, eerie shadows against the walls of the rock chamber. "It's time," she whispered. And together they left the chamber, ready to face the challenges that lay ahead. As they made their way back through the rock formation, the chamber they had passed through earlier was no longer empty. Shadowy figures, more numerous and more menacing than before, swirled within their forms, contorting and shifting, blocking their path. The fading magic was fighting back, desperate to retain its hold on the veil. Alara gripped the heart of Avani tighter, feeling its power surge through her. She knew that this was just the beginning. The path ahead would be fraught with danger, but she was ready. She had the heart, she had the panther by her side, and she had the will to save her home. As the shadowy figures lunged, Alara raised the heart of Avani. The golden light pulsed outwards, pushing back the darkness, forcing the shadowy figures to recoil. But they were relentless, their numbers seemingly endless. The panther roared, leaping into the fray, its claws and teeth tearing through the shadowy forms. Alara joined the fight, channeling the heart's energy, sending blasts of golden light towards the creatures. It was a fierce battle, the chamber echoing with the clash of magic and the snarls of the panther. But Alara and the panther fought as one. Their movements coordinated, their determination unwavering. The shadowy figures, despite their numbers, could not withstand the combined power of Alara and the panther, now amplified by the heart of Avani. The golden light from the heart burned brighter, searing the shadowy forms, dissolving them into wisps of smoke. One by one they fell back, retreating into the darkness from whence they came. Finally, the chamber was clear, the path forward open once more. Alara, breathing heavily but lowered the heart of Avani. She knew that this was just one battle in a larger war, but it was a victory nonetheless. With renewed determination, she and the panther continued their journey out of the rock formation, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Emerging from the rock formation, Alara was greeted by a sight that made her heart ache. The once vibrant veil was now shrouded in a dull grey light. the trees drooping their leaves withered and brown. The air was heavy with a sense of decay, the magic that once flowed through the land, now a mere trickle. But Alara did not despair. She had the heart of Avani, and she knew what she had to do. Raising the heart high above her head, she closed her eyes and focused her will, channeling the ancient magic within the artifact. A wave of golden energy pulsed outwards, spreading through the veil like a healing balm. As the energy washed over the land, a transformation began to take place. The grey light receded, replaced by the vibrant hues of nature. The trees straightened their leaves, regaining their lush green colour. The air grew lighter, filled with the sweet scent of blooming flowers and the sound of rushing water. Life returned to the Vale, its magic restored, thanks to the courage and determination of one young woman and the power of the heart of Avani. With each heartbeat of the heart of Avani, the land surged with life, and she felt the weight of her journey dissolve. This courageous young woman had faced darkness and despair, yet here she stood, a beacon of hope, illuminating the Vale. As flowers bloomed around her, she realized that this magic was not just about the land, it was about the spirit of every creature that called it home. As the wonders of nature flourished, the villagers emerged from their homes, drawn by the vibrant transformation. They gathered around the young woman, their eyes sparkling with admiration and joy, their hearts echoing the revival of hope. In that moment, she realized she was not alone. Their shared courage had all contributed to the restoration of the Vale, forging unbreakable bonds among them. As the energy washed over the land, a transformation began to take place. The grey light receded, replaced by the vibrant hues of nature. The trees straightened their leaves, regaining their lush green colour. The air grew lighter, filled with the sweet scent of blooming flowers and the sound of rushing water. Life returned to the Vale, its magic restored, thanks to... With each heartbeat of the heart of Avani, the land thrummed with new life. Flowers danced in the gentle breeze, their colours more radiant than ever, as if the very essence of joy had infused the air. Creatures that had long hidden surfaced, drawn by the allure of the restored Vale, ready to embrace their home once more. The enchantment of the heart resonated across the Vale, calling back the wildlife that had once thrived in its embrace. The air buzzed with the sound of cheerful chirps and rustling leaves, a joyful celebration of life reborn. Animals of all kinds joined the young woman in gratitude, recognizing that their world had been saved by her bravery.